Is Hannibal here from the Hannibal TV.com, and I'm going to review CM Punk's ESPN interview that he did leading up to Collision, which is AEW's third show. Even though Rampage is really struggling, Dynamite had its fourth lowest viewership of the year, fourth lowest rating this week. They're getting paid for a third show, so I understand why they're doing it. But before I get into reviewing the actual ESPN article, let's take a look at where ticket sales are at directly from this week's Wrestling Observer that came out today. So for their debut show in Chicago at the 20,000 seat United Center, that sold out for CM Punk's last return, has about, and these include the free tickets. So total tickets out 8,500 for tomorrow night's at the United Center. Their debut show Saturday night, CM Punk's the Toronto one. Or CM Punk's the hometown boy. For the Toronto one, another 20,000 seat arena. They're at just over 2,000 tickets sold, which Meltzer brings up as poor for that market. In Hamilton, which they're taping on a Thursday night, has only 883 tickets, which is really bad. Because Hamilton, for anyone that doesn't know, is actually a big city. Regina, Saskatchewan, just over 1,000, 1,353. Calgary, for the debut in the market, 3,500. Then in Newark, the New York City market, over 4,000. Greenville, 1,700. Greensboro, 2,600. So other than Chicago, obviously CM Punk's not really blowing away the box office. Marty's doing great. I suggest people watch that interview. He was sober in this interview. So let's review this ESPN. I'm going to take my face, or I guess I'll have to keep my face in it. But let's review this ESPN article. Again, the whole appeal of Collision is supposed to be CM Punk getting on the mic, but he's talked to ESPN now, so we can assume it's going to be something similar to this. To be honest, I skimmed through it before and I didn't find it that interesting. Basically, he says he's been absent so long because of a torn tricep. He is injury prone. That match took place at the event last September that he was hurt at, but he was also hurt last June. And basically, he's recovering. Who knows how long it's going to be before his next injury. The backstage fight with the Bucks and Kenny Omega, they haven't talked to him since. And he started off having a problem with Adam Page due to saying something in a promo which had to do with Colt Cabana's firing, where Adam Page was supposedly mad at CM Punk related to Colt Cabana's firing. Then he was stiff with CM Punk in the ring in the match. And CM Punk is still unhappy about that, but he's made up with Tony Khan. And I'll be perfectly honest with you, I don't care about CM Punk enough to read the full thing. I've seen the Cole's notes of it, and that's what he's basically saying. The Young Bucks and Kenny Omega have not talked to him, so there's still heat there. Adam Page said something about him in a promo he was upset over, and instead of working the match he had with Adam Page, he felt like he had to protect himself. So, in other words, he felt that he couldn't have as good of a match because his guard was up because he didn't fully trust Adam Page. So there you go. Yes, I was the first to break the news about Carlito being told basically by WWE it'd be breach of contract if he still does the Great North Wrestling event in Smith Falls, which, by the way, Jack Kilby has found a replacement for, who has held titles in WWE and is still in the prime of his career. He's going to announce that soon. So it's going to be a great show. And yes, some of us are glad he's back. Well, I hope that I'm glad he's back because it's more stuff to write about. But I'll be honest, I don't see Collision. I know they're going to do a decent rating for their first one, but I can see Collision like going down because, like, yes, they've got CM Punk, but after the newness of him coming back, I mean, let's just look at the ticket sales here. Like they're going to be going to arenas that are big arenas and are hardly full for the most part. So the crowds aren't going to be that hot. And yes, it's CM Punk back. Andrade, who's best known for being Ric Flair's son-in-law. Miro, who's best known for allowing Bobby Lashley to make out with his wife on top of him, or while standing over him in WWE before WWE fired him. I mean, I don't see after. I don't see after like the newness of seeing Punk again how they're going to sustain it when it's going to be mostly the same wrestlers that are already on Dynamite and Rampage. And Rampage is a show that's not doing great in the ratings. I hope it does great. I hope it does well though, because it's good for my business. I'm not wishing them unsuccess, but I'm sick of hearing CM Punk's whining, and I was never a fan of his. He's something to talk about in wrestling, but to me, like as I said, I'm too bored to even read that article fully. Ivan, I'm sorry to hear Puerto Rican female wrestler Genesis passed away. No gimmicks guy Jack Kilby says stay tuned for the massive announcement this weekend about Carlito's replacement. I would rather see Hogan or Goldberg come back than CM Punk. And I know I got a lot of AEW fans on this channel, but I would 100 times rather see Goldberg back. And honestly, Goldberg would draw a lot better. He's better known to the mainstream. By the way, I'm going to do the Wrestling Observer review later, but Tank Abbott is having some health struggles this weekend. He's wrestled Goldberg. That's why it popped into my head. But I was talking to Tank Abbott recently, and he said he might be interested in coming to Great North Wrestling to wrestle if he can get through his latest health battles. He wants to have he's not done. So that could be very interesting. So I'll be back after I read the Wrestling Observer and give you guys the review of the points I find interesting. I'll watch. I have no interest in watching CM Punk's match tomorrow. It's a 6-man tag match. I just have no interest in watching it. But I will probably watch the YouTube posting of his speech. What is the difference? There's a lot of fans that are both WWE and AEW fans. Someone agrees with me that Goldberg would be much more of an attraction. He is more expensive. I think Punk's like $3 million a year, and Goldberg is like $1 million a match. But he deserves that at this point in his career. I also think Goldberg could beat CM Punk in a shoot fight. That's just my opinion. But the big difference between WWE and AEW fans, I don't know. From watching the WWE product, there's a lot of standing in the ring, long, boring promos. That's what I mostly don't like about WWE. too much of people just standing around talking in the ring. It bores the hell out of me. AEW, I've seen less of that, more action, but they don't have as many stars. So there's not really. I'm a somewhat Chris Jericho fan. I was more of a fan of him in WCW, but like, there's no Goldberg. There's nobody that's a big star to me that really makes me want to watch AEW. I mean, CM Punk, I was never a fan of, but I agree that they should use CM Punk if they're paying him $3 million a year, and there's so few stars in wrestling these days. Definitely sign him. I don't dispute they should sign him. Blood Hunter against CM Punk, that would be a good match. They would actually have a good feud. Blood Hunter and CM Punk would have a good match. Blood Hunter against Jon Moxley would have a good match. Blood Hunter against Roman Reigns would be a good match. That's just my Blood Hunter against Cody Rhodes would be a match that superstar Billy Graham always wanted to see. Which, by the way, Marty Jannetty did not know who Billy Graham was, but he did a very interesting interview. He had some interesting thoughts on Sonny, and he shed some light on the whole Paul Roma, Pat Patterson rumors. Told the story of hijacking a WWE tour bus in Germany. It's pretty interesting. They should use Big Show and Mark Henry as wrestlers. I fully agree. Samoa Joe, they are using my old tag team partner who I tagged with once to defeat Jinder Mahal and Yama Singh Jr. But the Big Show and Mark Henry, I would use them as actual wrestlers. 150%, because they need more star. And like, if I was Tony Khan, I wouldn't have let Regal have his release a year early. I would have kept using Regal, because these are people that if someone's flipping through the channels and they see Regal or they see Mark Henry or Big Show, it's like, okay, let's watch it. I recognize these guys. The company's doing great. I'm not hating on the company, but for me and for more mainstream fans, it seems they keep hiring these New Japan guys that only the smart marks care about. Like, I would seriously watch paint. There's so much I'd rather watch, honestly, a rerun of Hugh Hefner's reality show, or a rerun of Bret Michaels' reality show, honestly, honest to God, than any of these New Japan guys in AEW. No Gimmicks guy says unsanctioned. Unsanctioned Punk against Blood Hunter, I'd like to see. That'd be an interesting match for sure. Actually, it would be much better and much better drawing, and then like whoever CM Punk's going to feud with, because we all know now he's probably only going to wrestle people he trusts because of all this crap. Oh, and the whole thing about Adam Page saying CM Punk tried to fire Colt Cabana. I still don't get Colt Cabana. He seems like a nice enough guy. I saw the thing where he kissed Joey Ryan's dick in a match. I don't know why he did that, but I don't know. I don't understand the big hoopla of Colt Cabana. I don't understand. But maybe he's a comedy wrestler and I don't like comedy wrestling. Who knows? Nothing controversial about it, about his controversial interview. I guess what was controversial about it is he's going back to work for a company where he's stating that Omega and the Young Bucks are both executives in AEW. They're both executives and they're not talking to him. So that's controversial. There's 3 people in the office that are also wrestlers that are not talking to him, and he's saying he still has heat with Adam Page, and he's going back in there. So it doesn't seem like he's going to be feuding with those guys. Maybe it's all a work, and maybe they will feud. Ryback had a mega push in WWE and dropped the ball. One of the most overrated wrestlers ever, and far from relevance, and a complete loser in my dealings with him. Ryback, I would list. Ryback is someone, if anyone ever wants to do a celebrity boxing match, I'd beat the living shit out of him. I just have no respect for the guy. No respect at all. Anyways, I'll be back with the Wrestling Observer review.
Thank you for watching the Hannibal TV. Please like this video if you enjoyed it and click the subscribe button to not miss